Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video today. And today, the Houston Texans destroy the Cleveland Browns in the wild card round. What a win for the Texans, everybody, and for all the people that throughout the week absolutely just clowned the Tech. I was in the comment sections throughout the week. I was called crazy for saying the Texans were going to beat the Browns, and even one person said that the Texans were just. I think one person said that the Texans were just a team that the Browns were going to go past in their Super Bowl journey or something like that. One person, I think, said, "You're crazy. The Browns are going to win the Super Bowl. They're the Super Bowl lock," or something. But what a game today for the Houston Texans. C.J. Stroud threw 236 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns in the first half. He only finishes with 274 passing yards in the game, but first of all, he didn't play much in the fourth quarter because the Browns were chewing the clock in the fourth quarter, trying to get some points on the board. And then C.J. Stroud, of course, got pulled because the Texans were winning in the ball game by 31, 45-14. But C.J. Stroud was phenomenal in this game for the Houston Texans, and he didn't throw many bad passes in this ball game either. I mean, only threw 5 incompletions, and those incompletions were great passes by C.J. Stroud today. And the Texans get this win 45-14. The defense was phenomenal, and this team made the proper changes that they needed to make, after the last game against this team when they lost 36-22, and really when both first teams were out there, the game was 36-7. But the Texans were very shorthanded last time we played Cleveland. Guys on the defensive end that were playing today that weren't playing last time: Will Anderson Jr., Blake Cashman, John Grenard, all 3 guys who were playing today. C.J. Stroud also didn't play in that matchup, so things were totally different when the Houston Texans matched up against the Browns today, and we win 45-14. And with this win for the Texans, they move on to the divisional round, which the Houston Texans improved to a 5-2 record when playing in the wild card round. And yeah, it's a great win for the Texans. First playoff win in 4 years. Let's go to the scoring summary from this game. Let's go to the first quarter, because for a first quarter, this was first half, really. I mean, for both teams, the Browns weren't terrible in the second quarter, or the Browns weren't terrible in the first half at all. It was really the second half that things got out of hand for them. The Browns weren't bad at all in the second half. First half. But first quarter scoring summary: there was 3 scores, 2 for the Texans. Kaimi Fairbairn, 21-yard field goal. Texans were inside the 10-yard line but could not get a touchdown, but did the smart thing and went for the field goal. It's 3-0. And then Kareem Hunt scores a 1-yard touchdown run, his first of 2 touchdowns today for the Cleveland Browns. They only had 2 touchdowns, so he scored the only 2 touchdowns today for the Cleveland Browns. A 1-yard touchdown run, it's 7-3. Then C.J. Stroud throws a 15-yard touchdown pass to Nico Collins, it's 10-7. And then you see a Joe Flacco 11-yard touchdown pass to Kareem Hunt, it's 14-10. C.J. Stroud throws a 76-yard touchdown pass to Brevin Jordan. He ran about 50 yards on the play. Maybe it was a little bit less than 50, but unbelievable play by Brevin Jordan, unbelievable run by Brevin Jordan, and it's 17-14. The Houston Texans retake the lead. Then right before halftime, with 1 minute and 11 seconds remaining in the second quarter, C.J. Stroud throws a 37-yard touchdown pass to Dalton Schultz, and it's 24-14. Another great pass from C.J. Stroud. Then in the third quarter, this is the big reason why C.J. Stroud did not see the ball a lot in the second half. Starts off. By the way, before I go over these 2 scores, Texans over the season, they were great defensively and had a lot of interceptions, but not one time did they have a pick 6 throughout the season. But on back-to-back series for the Cleveland Browns, Joe Flacco throws 2 pick 6s. First one is a Steven Nelson 82-yard interception return. It's 31-14. And then this one kind of ended it for the Browns. 36-yard interception return for Christian Harris. The next thing you know, the Browns give the ball back to the Texans after a 4th down stop, and Devin Singletary scores in the fourth quarter, 13 minutes and 27 seconds remaining, has a 9-yard touchdown run, and it's 45-14. All right, game leaders in this ball game. Joe Flacco, 34 for 46 with 307 passing yards with 1 passing touchdown and 2 interceptions for the Browns. CJ Stroud, 16 for 21, 274 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns. Rushing yards, Kareem Hunt had 8 carries for 26 rushing yards with 1 touchdown, while Devin Singletary had 13 carries for 66 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. Receiving yards, David Njoku, 7 receptions for 93 receiving yards. Nico Collins, 6 receptions for 96 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. Let's go over the rest of the box score from this game. Davis Mills came in the game today and threw 1 pass, and it was a completion for 6 yards. Jerome Ford had 9 carries for 17 rushing yards. Joe Flacco also ran the ball 3 times for 13 yards. John Mechie for the Texans had 1 carry for 9 yards. Nico Collins had 1 carry for 4 yards for the Texans. Their stats for the Texans receiving. Nico Collins led the Texans in receiving yards with 96, like I already mentioned, but next man up, Brevin Jordan, who only had 1 reception for 76 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. John Mechie III, who's been really quiet all season, had 3 receptions for 44 receiving yards today, had a total of over 50 yards on the day with 53. Really good day for him. 1 reception and 37 receiving yards with 1 touchdown for Dalton Schultz. Xavier Hutchinson with 2 receptions for 12 receiving yards, and Robert Woods with 1 reception for 11 receiving yards. There were no fumbles in this ball game. Desmond King had 12 total tackles, led the Texans in tackles. 10 for Blake Cashman, 8 for Christian Harris, 6 for DeAndre Houston Carson, 5 for Steven Nelson, 5 for D'Angelo Ross, 5 for Khalil Davis. Following players had 3, Denzel Perryman, Kurt Heinisch, Will Anderson Jr., who also had a sack. Jalen Petrie had 3. Chris Boyd had 3. Derek Stingley Jr. had 2. Derek Barnett had 2. Following players had 1. Adrian Amos, Malik Collins, Henry To'o, Kareem Jackson. John Grenard had 0. Texans had 4 sacks on the day. 1 sack for Christian Harris, 1 sack for Kurt Heinisch, 1 sack for Will Anderson Jr., and 1 sack for Derek Barnett. A total of 11 tackles for loss on the day. 2 tackles for loss for Christian Harris, 1 for Cashman, 1 for Ross, 1 for Khalil Davis, 1 for Denzel Perryman, 1 for Kurt Heinisch, 1 for Will Anderson Jr., 1 for Derek Stingley Jr., and 1 for Derek Barnett. And also, final one is Malik Collins, who also had 1. Texans, their only 2 interceptions on the day was the 2 touchdowns. Steven Nelson, 82 yards, and Christian Harris, 36 yards, which were on back-to-back drives. That really recaps this game for the Texans. Let me know your thoughts on the game in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. I want to know in the comment section, who do you want the Texans to play in the divisional round? Here are the Texans' options. So let's go with the realistic option. What I think will happen. I believe the Chiefs will beat the Dolphins and the Bills will beat the Steelers. In that outcome, the Texans play the Ravens. Let's go ahead and say the Chiefs beat the Dolphins and somehow the Steelers pull off an amazing upset against the Bills. Then the Texans would travel to Kansas City, which I don't want to happen because of the weather. The Texans would play Kansas City in the divisional round, and then you'd see Pittsburgh play Baltimore. But let's be honest, Pittsburgh is not beating Buffalo. What if Buffalo, this is the final one, what if Buffalo beats, or there's 2 more options. What if Buffalo beats Pittsburgh and then Miami beats Kansas City? Then the Texans would end up going to play Kansas City. You'd still be going to Kansas City because Miami would go to Baltimore. Now, final option, let's say Miami beats Kansas City and then also Pittsburgh beats Buffalo. The Texans would stay where they are in Houston to host the Miami Dolphins. I guess that could be the best option for the Texans because it's the easiest team to play compared to Baltimore, Buffalo, or Kansas City, and you're staying at home as well. So, but the only thing about it is you have to have the Steelers beat the Bills, which is very unlikely. But if we're going the realistic route where the Steelers do not beat the Bills, I would say out of all the teams, I'd probably want to face the Ravens the most compared to the Chiefs or the Bills. For me, it's just about the weather. Sure, Baltimore will be cold, but the Buffalo and Kansas City weather is going to be unreal. And I think with the Ravens having some time off, that'd be a good advantage for the Texans. With the Ravens, I mean, they didn't play their main players in Week 18. They've also had the wild card weekend off, so they've had 2 weeks off. So I think that'd actually be good for the Texans. Maybe the Ravens will be a little rusty, but still a really good defense the Texans would be facing. I think no matter who the Texans play, unless it's the Dolphins, it's going to be a really hard matchup. And even if you play the Dolphins, it's still going to be a hard matchup. Let me know your thoughts on the game in the comment section. That's this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out. Go Texans.